Good evening, everyone who is present here this evening and those of you who are joining us online. Thank you so much for joining us in this August month where we celebrate, where we pause to honor women and reflect on where we have come, how far we have come, and celebrate our strength as we also get to learn what is it that is about woman, what womanhood is all about. So welcome to Teaching Through Conversation, Ep.7, where we tonight explore womanhood across generations, understanding ourselves in God's love. And I am LL. I am not alone this evening. I'm not alone this evening. I am with three incredible women. I'm going to ask a warm welcome to all of you. Greetings.
Greetings.
Talk loud. I'm going to ask you to please introduce yourself and name a generation which you come from, and just a line of what is your understanding of womanhood.
Oh, am I starting?
Starting with you, Martinique.
My name is Martinique. I was born in 2006, so that means I'm Gen Z. Gen Z, yes. Class of 2024. To me, womanhood is growing within your power, establishing a sense of individuality, a sense of independence, and obviously that comes in stages as you go along in life. Like, it's not going to be the same now as when I'm 18 and when I'm older. So I think it's just growing and learning who you are as a woman, as a person. Yeah.
Lovely. Annele?
I'm Annele Piri, 22 years of age. You Gen Z?
Yeah.
Gen Z.
Yes.
Womanhood to me is breaking barriers, doing what you're told that you can't do, proving them wrong, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's womanhood for you.
That is womanhood.
Thank you. Mama Rata?
I'm Christina Ratau. I'm 76 years old.
Wow. Which generation is that, guys?
I don't think they had Gen
Baby boom.
I go for him. Motusana so right hand.
Amen.
Itate orate batho. Be polite. O be mme o na le hlompho. Mnyane in order gore le ena tla o hlompha. Ke ka mmanoti ka teng.
Thank you, ma'am. We've had it different definitions in terms of womanhood. So it means that womanhood carries multi-layers. And for me, some of those layers we have inherited, some of them we have learned, some of them we have discovered along the journey of life. And so we are here today to explore further on what womanhood is all about across all the different generations. And for me, I would like us to explore womanhood according to 4 dimensions, which is biological, social or cultural, personal or identity, and collective experiences, because we grow up knowing or being taught when we talk about biologically what is womanhood, and then again the society teaches us or socializes us in a certain way. Then some of us, that's how we define womanhood. And also our identity. Personally, I would say, as Mama Ratau said, womanhood is about having that self-respect you know, and to other person it might be different. Or how do you identify with womanhood? Again, collectively as women, what can we say at the end is womanhood? So my question therefore is, in your generation, Martinique, how did you experience womanhood?
And I feel like I'm first gonna start by saying what I think was perceived as womanhood or coming of age. Like it would be going through puberty,
Okay.
and I feel that as time went by, that started happening younger and younger for children. So I wouldn't still say that okay, when you start going through puberty, it's necessarily you becoming a woman. Maybe a few years after that, yes.
Yeah.
So I think as you get older, and as I said in the beginning, once you start to establish that sense of self, that independence, building yourself as the person that you are, I think that does play into it.
And your view, Anela?
With me, I think it was when I turned 21, and my mother like sat me down and told me, now the world is going to expect certain things from me because I should be thinking a certain way. I'll always be a little girl. So it's finding that balance of always leaning on my mother, but being the woman I know I can be.
So, Meratau, womanhood, the way I understand Dankateng, it's got nothing to do with, apologies for some of you who do not understand Sotho. Ha e kopane le hore o mosadi ka baka la hobane o na le bana or o kgona ho beleha. So womanhood e bua ka wena, the way we utlwisisang ka teng. E jwalo motswadi?
Me ke tla re ke womanhood ke ka mokgwa wena o ikutlwisisang ka teng, ke ka mokgwa wena o inkang ka teng. But nna monna itse ha ke kala ke thola ma firstborn, it's then mo ke ipoleletsang gore ke a gola jwang, because nako e kaofela ke ne ntse ke le ka mo tlasa apron ya mama ke
Okay.
mama ile ena mpolellang gore o ska etsa gore etsa o ska etsa gore etsa gore, but itse alright ke thotse ngwana e le gore ha ke soka ke thole lenyalo, zanga anlatlha itse ha utlwa gore ke mo mmeleng a ba pitsa ba haba ba bolella gore ke sentse then bebe ba tla ge mohlang ba tlang ba kena ka mo lapeng ba tla ba tlo bolela ka nna, then mo ke ipoleletseng gore ke mosadi ya no ke godile.
Yes. So for me, that therefore speaks to what would you say? Speaks to it speaks to it's biological dimension of which type of womanhood would that be? Is it social, which is also cultural? Is it personal, or is it's a collective experience?
I think it's
Cultural and biological.
Cultural and biological. Okay. Yes.
I would probably say the fourth one also maybe
Collective.
maybe not collective but an experience. So I don't know if experience, a personal experience or a collective experience where this happened in order for me to then realize or call myself or brand myself as a woman. Prior to that I was still a girl. Now I'm a woman in this instance.
Yeah. So if I were to think of myself in terms of how I relate or how I identify or how I got to experience womanhood, I still struggle today. I struggled growing up and I heard what you said, Anele, and I want to actually credit you guys because you guys grow up so free. Rona, on the other hand, it was not always the case. So I think I only got to discover my womanhood at a late stage, Mewang, knowing what is it that I identify with what is it that makes me me, you know, as uniquely what is it that I can tolerate, what is it that I cannot. Perhaps womanhood at the time for me was still, even though I could not tangibly touch or I cannot clearly describe, it was according to social expectations in terms of, as a female, this is how you should behave, this is what is expected from you. But it is only now when I come out of it, is it coming out of age?
No,
Coming out of
you
age is,
passed
yeah,
that.
past that long time.
Of age.
When I found my voice, and believe you me, I found my voice in my first year at seminar. That was in 2020. That was in 2018. Yes, I might have say, I can say maybe prior to that, but to say firmly, I knew who I was. And I started even to embrace even my first name, because I could understand who is this person and what makes me me, and I embraced everything that came with me being a woman.
But what happened? What brought that realization?
What brought that realization? It was self-discovery, I think. Because it is a journey, as we said, Horanane, some of womanhood, or the way we understand womanhood, it's what we inherited from those who came before us. Maybe I understood it according to my mother, but then again, there's this, what you get to discover yourself. It could have been blocked by many things because of the circumstances, the where I come from, where at the time one did not have that voice. And yeah, it is only at seminary where I can say I could firmly stand and speak up and say, this is not me, this is me, this I cannot take, this I can take. And that's how I identify with womanhood. So it means that socially we have been, somehow many of us have been influenced. Would you agree with that? In terms of how we get to live as women. But as a Gen Z, would you say that is your experience? Gen Z. How does that, how much of that does that affect you?
I feel that within this generation, my generation, women, let me say, they aren't in a rush to settle down. So they want to get educated, they want to travel the world, they want to live their lives to the fullest before getting married, having kids, all of those things. They want to also enjoy their womanhood before having to have responsibilities of children, husband, all of those things. So I think, yeah.
Hence I'm saying you guys are privileged, and that's that. Mama Siba, I think she just actually helped me. To us, we were taught, even though it was not vocally, sometimes it would not be said, you know, out there, but then it would be whispered, it would be suggested. Okay, for you to be this woman, it's when you have children, when you are married, work, career comes afterwards.
Or does
But
it come?
When you have made it, it is when you have that ring on your finger and you have children and you building a home for everyone else, and you put yourself last.
So Mro, if you didn't went to seminar, so even now maybe so
No, you're right, Zamukuhle, because I am so blessed. For me, having been to seminary, it has opened my eyes in so many ways. Yes, I wrote my first book in 2016, which somehow helped me as well to find my voice, the inner voice, where I talk about I choose me, I matter, you know, listening to God's voice and being able to discern at that time, and it is again at seminary when I wrote my second book, where I talk about a woman fully human, theology of equality, simply because of the incidents that I was surrounded by in Pietermaritzburg. 5 women would be found killed almost every week, and also experiencing that side. Church, that side is different, Mama Radam. That you see the local preachers organization, the executive of the district is only old men. You hardly see women at the forefront. So I think it's those things. Again, also being at seminary, I started to be open-minded. When you read more, reading helps. And now men will tell us that they need to empower us. I'm like, who are you to empower us? Who said we lack empowerment? But yes, that's exactly what happened. Because socially I was taught as a young person from the Free State that there is your seat, there is your space, and this is what you need to do first before you can focus on 1, 2, 3. Yes, my mother believed in education, but I think she embraced other things more than education, even though she would not say it.
Batswadi ba rona ba ne ba batla hore re rutega. Then rona ke rona re ikgogetseng ko tlase. Ha ke re o utlwa ha ke re ke thotse ngwana ke bile pregnant before ke ne ke etsa ntho ha ke tsore from trekking ka ntho bona yana. And at that time nna go sena ntho na from 4 go sena from 5. Ne ke lakaditse gore ha ke passa from 3 tshwanetse go etsa nursing.
So you were almost finished school.
From grade 10.
Grade 10.
Grade 10.
Then ne ke ipoleletse go etsa ntho ena go etsa nursing. That time o no khona gore o ka etsa ke re nursing or o etse teaching ka from 3.
Okay.
Only to find that ke tla fola pregnant ge ka bo school too. Then in the terata wa ba bona gore a o motho ke mo. Then ha monka mo go ke mo ya no wa bona gore ke letile batswadi ba ka down ya no because mtlomo bona ne ba ikemiseditse gore ba na le nurse ka mo ntlo. Then instead of nurse ka ba tlisetsa
Yeah.
Ano ebe lo gore ke tla tswa he ke ya motseng wa kwa Rataule. Alright. Wa Rataule bona ke dutse hantle le bona be ba re monna ba re are tsama le ipatlela ntlo ya no. Then ke mo ke fitlileng ka ipolella gore go se le nna ka nna ka itshwarela motse ya no ke mme ya no. Ne ke le ka motlasa iprone ya mme le ena mpolella gore o ska etsa gore batho gone ya no.
But Anele, would you say that, in fact, that has shifted? But how has your experience been like? Because when you look at womanhood, to teach your girl child is to wash dishes, is to look after the house, is to know how to cook and. But Loazi probably in
Doesn't
his
know.
home. And I'm not saying that's the case.
Somehow.
Probably in his home, he does not get to do that. But that has shifted. How was your experience, or how is your experience? Do you have a male sibling?
I don't know. Unfortunately or fortunately, in our house it's girls only.
Okay.
And more than anything, my mother pushes education. Like, I remember matric, COVID, I did not do anything. I went to school, came back, I had a meal ready for me. After that, I leave the dishes.
Yeah,
Champos, she'd wash for me, every single thing. Like, my mother pushes education. Everything else can wait. I remember last year, I was cross-nighting for a test, and then I overslept. I called her, I panicked. I cried, and she asked, "But what way? What can you do?" I'm like, "I can go to the doctor and get a doctor's note. Can write a sick test." She pushed for it. I was not even sick, but she pushes education. She wants me to be my own man. She does not want me to depend on anyone. And should God remember her one day, she wants to know that I'll be able to stand on my own.
Can I interrupt there? Can I interject? So we are redefining womanhood. There's been a huge shift. But is it really the case? And for all three of you, since you are perhaps the same generation, we are different generations, the three of us, in terms of, can we say with us redefining womanhood or finding our identity, are we saying we can do away with men?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Mo nakong ya jwale, nka encourage mang le mang gore bona gore ke ithute. Mo nakong ya yana.
Are we saying having a man in your life that prohibits you from prospering career-wise?
Mama, I think so, because gone yaanong ke tshwanetse gore ke shebe yena ka makere ke shebe bana ka
But that's the thing, Nawaka. I get we redefining roles. Who said as a female, I have to do the dishes, I have to cook? Because if you are there at home first, you can cook, you can prepare, you can bath the kids, you can do whatever. Then when I come, so it needs to be balanced. Are they still like that?
No, but that's not the case.
I don't think that's the case as well.
Most of them. I'm telling you, people our age, they are going back in time. If I'm being honest, boys our age are going back in time.
5% of them
Oh, they're at that point.
I think we mustn't overgeneralize. There are what we call gender complements. So in a relationship, you have to check where does your strength lie. Then you help your family in terms of that.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some women who are full-time students. Their spouses are taking the lead when it comes to taking care of the children and taking care of the home. So it would be disingenuous of us, especially because we are a female-dominated audience, to pretend as if all men don't support their partners and their families. They're gender complements. And I think for us, what I always say is, it's interesting to see that those women of 1956, they worked so hard so that we can be emancipated. But then you find some young girls who still feel as if they are not enough when they don't have a man, when they are not married. They just feel that they are not enough without the societal pressure. And unfortunately, there's nothing anyone can do to help you if you tell yourself that. I love Psalm 100. I just want to see if I can find it. Where it says, Psalm 100, verse 3. Know that the Lord is God. It is He who made us, and we are His. We are His people, the sheep of His pasture. It is He who made us. We are His. Why do you feel the need to want to belong to someone else when God has chosen you for Himself? So we can speak all we want. If a girl child on her own doesn't value herself enough, there's nothing we can do. You must define your own self-worth. With marriage, without marriage, with education, without education. And we must also remember that there are so many women who don't have the support and the funds to go to school. So just because they're not educated, it doesn't mean that the educated ones are above them. We come from different backgrounds. So know your self-worth first before you go out in the world.
Goodness.
And if you do that, you'll be able to treat yourself better and other people better.
Yeah. Yes, Ntalise, Lethabo, and Anele.
I think also as a millennial now, speaking from a millennial point of view, we as millennials, I find that we are kind of in the middle between our parents' generation, I don't know what it's called, and the Gen Zs, right? The Gen Zs are more liberated in how they are able to express themselves in all forms, in all platforms, with less judgment, right? And then there's us where we have a bit of both. We kind of act free, like, you know, the 80s, 90s, we act free, we are encouraged to be free, but we also still have an element of guardedness, you know. And then our parents' generation, obviously, they were still in the guarded phase where, you know, a woman is this, and you're expected to behave a certain way, you know, a girl does this, a girl doesn't do this. And with our fighting for us to be the educated generation, like the 1950s woman fighting for our generation, that, you know, we don't have to have the struggles and pains that they had under men, living under patriarchy, that you know, that generation, mostly teachers, nurses, police officers, domestic workers. Our generation, you know, our parents pushed so that we would, majority of us at least, go to school, have a good schooling, have a good education, so that we would be able to go into other spaces and then not rely on men as much. What kind of sucks about this is we're talking about our dads and uncles and grandparents here, who were the people who oppressed our mothers to push us into being liberated, you know. And I forgot now what you wanted to say. Something about how we've placed value on, so much value on material things or social things, or that we actually individually forget what our value comes from, that we place value on the education. Yeah, are you educated? What kind of education do you even have? Because where you even get your education, now it's not even are you educated anymore, it's where you get your education. Oh, UP is better than TUT, you know, even if we're all in Pretoria, or Pretoria is better than Joburg. And so we just keep placing value on so many different things, as well as within ourselves as women in our sphere, that
So we continually put pressure on
yes,
ourselves.
on ourselves, you know, that pressure
Because
that is,
even education is still not
yes,
enough.
it's not
Personal
enough.
growth is
Yes,
still not enough.
yes.
There's the journey does
Yes,
not
we
end.
keep shifting the goalpost. We keep shifting the goalpost. That shouldn't even exist to begin with. You know,
Exactly.
that there shouldn't be value on, like we're saying, on marriage, on kids, on Now there's a constant discourse on, oh, we're better off without kids. Ooh, you're better off with kids. How na bana o di renka tšhelete ya gago? Ka how na bana wena still you don't have this. Those without kids, hey, we didn't say you guys must have kids. We're very grateful for our kids. Our kids are a blessing. You know, that's the thing that we fight with each other on the things we do place value in. And you know, like we're saying that we shouldn't be placing value on marriage. If there is somebody, a woman who defines herself as she wants to place value in marriage, it's her business. If there's somebody who wants to place value in education and being a doctor at this specific place, it's fine. How is it, if it's not directly affecting you and we're all growing
So
and
let's
adding value,
embrace
then
each other
yes,
in our own
in
identity.
yes, and spaces, in however we find value within ourselves.
Let me give Lethabo a chance. I said Lethabo first. Yes.
Now I'm just gonna touch up on the fact that I think the topic now turned to partners in a way, but again, embracing. I'm gonna go back to what Ma said. I believe that men are like luxuries, not necessities. You see, I think the problem is that back then, having a man or having kids or thing was a need. Like there's needs and wants. I feel like back then it was more of like a need. Like you need to have this, you need to have that. And in today's generation, I think it's more of like if I want it, I'll get it, but just not now. Wabo. So I think the pressure was more back then, and I think that's why many Boma, yes, have, you know, got married early or got kids earlier. I think because there was pressure on that.
Was
You
that
felt like,
what we inherited.
yeah, you felt like you are somebody once you have these certain things in your life. So I think I'm gonna agree. I agree with you so much when you're saying, Hore, the generation, yeah, no, it's more of about like, I'll do it on my time, you know. And I think parents, because they got, I can again back then, they thought, okay, this was a need. Where now they wanna like kind of like pressurize you, like you saying, okay, and for now it's not really a need, you know. Like you said, everybody we define it in a different way. If we're not feeling getting that bag Billy is the way, then
That's
okay.
your kind of
yeah.
womanhood.
If not, then it's okay still.
Anele?
Well, I think I wanted to touch on what Mom Sibi said on
The young kids not having self-love.
I believe your first heartbreak or your first love should be your parents. And if my mother is not whispering encouragement, words of affirmation and love into me, where am I going to get that? So those who find who don't have like self-love, because more than anything, my mother taught me how to blow my nose. She taught me how to walk. She taught me so many things that I feel like it's her job to teach me how to love myself. It's okay, Ntomzana, love yourself, look at yourself in the mirror. I am beautiful, I am enough, da 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 da. And it also goes back, I didn't like my name in the beginning. It was just, yeah, until I knew the meaning. Anele means enough. I am enough. I don't lack on anything. So we are enough. So I think parents should whisper that into your child. You are enough, my babe. No matter what the world tells you, because they will tell you a lot of things. They will try to put you down. And it's the same women that you look up to that will try to put you down. Good to know. A perfect body is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect skin is like this. And if you don't have that, sorry, go to the back. You should be able to stand there and say, I am enough.
But remember, that's very good. Before I give you a chance, Katla, your mother is still, at least, would I say, middle-aged. So yes. she is able to feed or to deposit in that way. So some of us, like Mama Ratau, my mother had so much love, but then she was not that type of a woman, you know, or that type of a mother who would tell you from time to time that you are beautiful, I love you, you are enough just the way you are. But she would teach me, Horanani, you look after yourself, this is how you dress, you know, this is, you bath, you look after your space. But again, also saying, this is what is expected of you, Lydia Batubatari. You know, there was always that as well. So it therefore requires someone with, I don't want to say sober, but someone who is bold enough to find themselves at that time in a situation like that while you are being raised like that, not necessarily when the words are not clear, but you are just showed the way, and for you to be able to come out and say, this is who I am. And they've done their best, Meradam. They've done their best. Our parents loved us in the best way that they know. Katlem.
TV. Do you want to be on TV?
Okay. Now, when you brought up Mama, I thought about, okay, I experienced her as a grandmother. Before I go to what I want to say. And a lot of the times when Mamani would say, "Okay, we got the soft part of her, Luna, you got the like," abo." And I think there's a lot of things that we taught Mama when she was still alive, like things like marriage is not a need, and men are not adult babies. There were a lot of things that we would tell her, "Okay, no, Mama, we can't do this." We would teach her, Ola also needs to do the dishes. Ola also needs to do 1, 2, and 3. It's not just the girls that need to do 1, 2, and 3. If you're expecting these things from Mosa, then you should expect them from Oli as well. Oli is the boy, Mosa is the girl. And I think that when she was still here later on, she really got, like, she understood certain things. She would, like, I don't think she was that much in the olden days as much anymore. Yes. And then the second thing is,
I also taught her how to read scripture with that lens, because my mother would say, "No, if it was not for Eve, we would not be here." Mama, wait, hold on, hold it right there. So I would help her to wear the lens of feminist or even the womanhood, womanist theology. Look for, question the scripture. Don't read it just the way it is.
and then the other thing is, I think a lot of the times, even people my age, older people, younger people, don't understand the definition of feminism. The definition of feminism means dismantling old systems of oppression. So that in itself means that feminism in itself just means that you as a woman should be able to make your decisions regardless of what that decision is. So if you want to be a stay-at-home mom, that's fine. That is feminism in its own, because you are able to make that decision on your own. If you want to be a working mother, or if you don't want to have kids at all, or any kind of decision that you want to make, that in itself is feminism, because you're making decisions for yourself. That's the sort of how we moved away from patriarchy, because patriarchy didn't allow us to make decisions as women. So then when people are like, "No, but feminism is all about girlfriend allowance," that is just nonsense. And when people say, "Oh, I'm not a feminism,"
Jesus was a feminist.
But things like that, I think it's all about really reading and equipping yourself and being like, okay, and ask the correct, there's no correct question, but ask questions so that you understand certain things and also understand yourself and understand why people still believe in patriarchy. I like having those conversations and asking people in 2025, why do you still feel like you are the man of the house? Or, things like that, so that maybe I can understand your view and better understand myself, my reasoning, and also be like, okay, you know what, the way someone else is living doesn't mean mine is less or mine is more. It's just that we make different decisions and
different choices.
We live
Thank
life.
you so much, Fokat. Back to my beautiful three ladies. Talking about the collective dimension now, the collective part of womanhood in terms of how we understand it, or the shared struggles, the shared joys, the resilience that thread of resilience that runs across different generations. Can you think of an experience where you would see yourself as a Gen Z and us as different generation, where you think that we connect somehow, or we share the pain, or we share the struggle, or we share even the joy? Not necessarily in the same shoes, you don't walk the exact same shoes like women of 1956, but somehow the struggle still continues.
Okay, I think I'll start with shared struggles, because in the country that we live in, struggling, whether we want to whether we want to turn a blind eye to it. Women in South Africa aren't safe regardless of age, race, whatever. They are not safe.
That's a common struggle.
Yeah, so I think that is a shared struggle. Like, it doesn't matter the generation, age, nothing. So that is unfortunately something that does bring women together. in a terrible way, but it does. And then with regard to shared joys, how do I put this? I feel like in Gen Z, the generations, but girls, not always, but most of the time, girls do support girls, and we lift each other up in every way that we can. And when I say that, I don't mean that like if your friend comes to you and tells you something, don't lie to her just to protect her feelings. Tell her, okay, this is what I think, but it's once again your decision. The decisions that you make are your decisions. That's what makes you the woman that you are. But we support each other in that. And I also feel that that is another thing that can build you up as a woman, having a good support system, having a good circle of people that build you up and don't bring you down.
Particularly women.
Yes.
Me rata e nyo ka reng re le rona re le basadi or re le in our different generations e leng hore nane ya re kopanya ka tshokolo e re nang le yona or challenges tse re kopaneng le tsona or even bohloko be re bo fumana or even lethabo as different generations.
Nna ke ipolelela gore thuto mme ke yona e etsa e tla kopanya go bula menyako e mengata a ra ka ra bana le yona menyetla eo. That's why ke re ne ke le ka mo tlasa ke le mong ke re ke na le bana ba i-5 gone yanong bakeng la gae because e ne re ha ngwana a re 2 years a ba re tlisa ngwana go mo go nna ke tlo mo hodisa and nna nako go ke batla gore ke rwale kwa ke tsamaye ke tlo sebetsa e tlo nka nako e kae gore ke tsamaye ke lo sebetsa.
My goodness. So that has shifted. Hugo Anele, they now become entrepreneurs, they become, leaders in different spaces. Children is not at the forefront at this point in time. So what are the common struggles for you, Anele, as your generation and us and Boma Marata?
I think we are forced to be scared. Even though we don't want to be scared, we are forced. Even though I'm wearing a tracksuit, a man could come do whatever he wants to do, and the first thing they'll ask, what was she wearing? Women will push back. No, it doesn't matter what she's wearing. Teach men self-control. So we stopped. We used to bash each other, or we used to bash each other just for the validation of men. But now we're standing on our own. Whether I'm wearing a 2 centimeter skirt or pants, it does not give you a right. Like, have self-control. And then one of the joys, I think we motivate each other. A man, you can never depend on a man. I mean, like, there's literally nothing. So get your education. Like, there's nothing a man will do for you. Oh my gosh.
That you can't do for yourself.
That you can't do for yourself. Exactly. Because Bana Manja sent for no blame out Eve with the fruit of the spirit. Adam had a choice to say, hey.
Remember, in order for us, this will be a topic for another day. And we are not here to bash men, Zamukutlo. We are not here to bash men, Lwazi. We are here just to discover who we are and also, I think we've got different voices here. And by that, therefore, our voices get to be amplified. And I'm glad that as women of today, we are able to stand up for ourselves and say, this is not right, this is right. But I don't want us to lose focus that when God created a man, God did not create a gender, a male. God created a human being, and it is only in chapter 2 where he creates gender. He now creates both female and male. So it is us living together when we experience our fullness of being a human being. So we cannot say that, where did we talk about this? Oh, we spoke about this actually, from moving from me to we. You know, that no individual can ever say, I can do it all on my own.
Our chat is, you don't need a man to do it. That's the thing with it. We're pushing that stigma with it. To be accomplished or to make it in life, you need to be married with kids.
No, I don't.
That's our
subscribe
chat
to
with it.
that.
You don't need a man. You can have your girlfriends, your friends with you. You're not alone, technically. You're not alone.
You're just not with the man.
Mama mo go gona ke a emela ntho go, because ke godisitse bana ba ba 5 ke le mo.
Wow.
So ke ipolella gore ha ke khonne gore ke godise bana ba ke be ke banke ke ba ise sekolong. Ba nyetse kaofela gona yana ba ke nyadisitse bana kaofela ke le mo.
So
So
we are So we're moving away from that stereotype that as a woman you cannot do 1, 2, 3 alone. But we're going back to what Mam Sibi said. Having a man in your life, it does not mean it's a bad thing for many of us. It means, as long as you know, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses. He comes in here, she comes in here. You complement one another. It does not mean that, therefore, in their absence, you cannot exist. That's all we are saying. But I'm saying, okay, let's move on.
No, can I just quote
Is this we don't need men still?
No, Choli. 1 Corinthians chapter 7 verse 38. So the person who marries their fiance does well, and the person who doesn't marry does even better. Thanks.
Sure.
No, it was my word for the day. It was not today. But we do even better.
So we've explored womanhood across generations or different generations. So now we get to understand ourselves as women in God's design, and to help us understand that, or at least to grasp that, Psalm 139 somehow helps us, because it reminds us that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. So our womanhood was not by mistake, was not by accident. It is therefore intentional, designed by God, as I've said, that God intentionally put men to sleep, Zamukutwe, not a male, men to sleep, in order.
Mankind.
A humankind, yes, mankind, a human being, in order to separate a man, man and woman out of a human being. That's when that was born, both female and male. So what part, therefore, of your womanhood do you appreciate the most as part of God's design?
Before we can answer that question, I think the problem now lies here with us. I'll speak on behalf of the perspective of men.
Yes.
The men, they have this wrong mentality, or I don't know how to put it, to say God created a man first than a woman. So that's why the men, they always like to be in charge, also have power. That before women, it was men. There was no transgender on that side. So I'm sure if all men outside there, they can understand that first, it can be now aligned to that. No, it was not a man first.
Thank you.
It was a human being.
And both of us, as female and male, we were both introduced to God. We got to see God at the same time.
Yes.
That is something that I'm very passionate about. So what part of you would you say you are embracing, wholeheartedly as God's design?
As you said, I have it written down just like that, Psalm 139. Women were created by God intentionally. There was a plan, regardless of marrying your fiance or not, there's intention, we have purpose. So I think that is what I appreciate most, is that I have a purpose. I'm a woman. I'm going to make my own decisions and live my life the way that I feel is. People do want to have kids at a young age. Other people don't want kids at all. So I think that is what I appreciate the most.
Yes.
I appreciate that I was made in the splitting image of God. So every time I get to God, where are you? I just need to look at the mirror. And there, that's it.
Nna ke a leboga ntho tse Modimo a nkeleditseng tsona hobane ke mo ke leng teng ke motho o ke leng yena ka jeko ka baka la gape. Fatshe ke mo kopa ke re ntate ho je ke bona.
Thank you so much. So same here, looking at myself and I'm like, I'm not in any lack of anything. I am wonderfully and beautifully and intentionally created and in the image of God, and the fact that God called me. And don't ever underestimate and think that God did not call you just because God did not call you into ministry of word and sacrament. But God called us differently and has bestowed different gifts upon us. And it is this morning, Tabise, when I woke up with a prayer to God, I said, God, you called me before I could even exist, before I was even given a name, before you even formed me in my mother's womb. You called me and you knew exactly the gifts that you would bestow upon me, and you knew exactly where I would be today. And for me, that says God was intentional. Nothing is beyond God. And that for me makes me so proud to embrace the person that I am without the things of that the naked eye can see. The gifts, the blessings, the love that God has given me. That for me is enough. And anything from your side in terms of what of you do you embrace?
Yeah, before the embrace part, I just wanted to add on the shared struggles.
For the same work.
Yes, for the same work that men do, equally, men are still earning higher in job spaces than us. It's true.
I need to second that, Kakao. Can you show the camera to me? That why are we quiet about that? Are we talking? Because I'm listening to you when you guys are saying you supporting one another, and I'm like, thank you, and I'm happy for you, because some of our generation, Mama Msibi, I don't know, we are not supportive of one another as women. And I'll tell you what, in our church, that I will be called, I will be invited, I will not be compensated the same way as a male minister. No matter the kind of work, as if not the kind of work that I bring or preparation, it's titled something less, which is a woman according to us, even as women. And who said as women we are not capable just because we are women? Then we are compensated less, but a man, whether they deliver or not, they are compensated more. I'm telling you, that's what's happening in our church, in our conventions, that you would do a Bible study, a man will be given more than what you have been given. You would do a divine service, a man would be given more than what you would be given. And who are doing this? Women.
And it starts this
Why
thing.
are we quiet?
It starts with this thing, Yauri. There's a minister and then there's a female minister.
Yes.
That's the thing.
And okay, the other one I think I wanted to say is, I think what you made us aware of when we were planning for our revival is that women in leadership positions, and the thought, the struggle that we're still seen as we're not as smart as men. therefore we don't deserve to be in spaces that men are in, or as much as men. There's that thing of, when, what you call this, King Act, corporate governance, they say a diverse governing body, and then 2 females apparently seems to be is a diverse governing body. That kind of a situation when 50-50 or even 80% of women would be just as qualified in those positions as men, right, if given the opportunity. The one thing I wanted to say about what I really embrace about womanhood, and this is something that over time now we've kind of like viewed as a burden and want to place it as a negative thing. The ability to carry seed and bring life into this world for me as women is, I think, one of those things that for me just blows my mind, that, to bring such a precious gift and blessing into the world. And I think that's one of the things I genuinely appreciate about womanhood.
Thank you.
Because that's what definitely, for sure, separates us from men.
Exactly. And you know what I also embrace as being as a woman, and even though it is somehow used to mock us as women, that I've got that deep compassion that my emotions as well take they influence the huge part of the person that I am, and they influence my decisions or how I act or how I interact with people. And I'm not shy about that I'm an emotional, because we are explained as emotional beings. And another thing that I embrace is the strength, the still strength, the quiet strength that exists within us as women. And this is something that I would like us as women, if we are not doing that, to embrace that we need not to be men in order for us to feel that we exist or we're making an impact or we are enough. In your voice, sometimes this is what we were even cautioned against that seminar, that we would even go as far as wanting to mimic the voices of men for us to feel that we have a voice. We can still, and we have a voice in our own, just the way we are. Any thought from your side in terms of what part of you as a woman do you embrace as God's design?
My brain.
Said it.
Because
Go deeper.
Yes.
Because, like you have said before, that we were created at the same time as men, and we all both met God at the same time. And I think that if God's intention was for women to be constantly under men, and men rule over them and whatnot, we wouldn't have brains. We wouldn't have a cognitive sense, like to think on our own and whatnot. So now I'm grateful for my brain, and I'm able to think for myself. And
Thank you so much. Anyone who would like to say something? And I think something that we need to embrace as well, and I think we've discovered that here, and you've said it, Ntabiseng, in so many ways, that as women, part of our womanhood or our identity or our discovery of womanhood is appreciating and embracing ourselves just where I am at that moment in time. And what I'm embracing, you need to respect it. So as women, we will always be different. I think that is something that we need to also be aware of, that we are in different spaces. And what moves me may not necessarily be what moves you. And what is unacceptable to you, to me, may be acceptable. Yes, we journey together, we find each other, we help one another, but without turning against each other. But we hold hands and we form that continual sisterhood. Any last words from your side?
Really?
You've said it all. Mama?
Nna ke kopa fela hore generation ya yaanong mama ba ithute. They must be ba itshepa. I get. Ba
Independent.
yeah, ba be dependent mo bona. O ska itshepela mo motho mongwe. Then so la pele o bona bophelo gore bo yang.
I think I want to add to that. However, this generation, in as much as they are independent, but remember, because it seems to be something that they are missing, that they think they can do it on their own without God. Having God on your side is not old-fashioned.
It's not.
It can never be
I'm not
old-fashioned.
understanding.
I beg your pardon?
I'm not understanding.
No, unkutwa hantle katle.
When we say we're doing it alone, we mean like these niggers.
I know, but be a godly, not necessarily a godly person. Be about God in everything that you do. Invite
Yes.
God, be in partnership with God. Be a church girl, not only in a uniform, not only marking present, but live it out. Actually, the word that I'm looking for. Don't be shy to live out your faith, no matter how young you are. Flaunt your faith.
My generation, we're making content at church. We're not being shy about it. Like our content creators, you will see it on their pages. Damami and Lee.
Okay.
Yeah, guys, I'll write it in the comment section. Check it. We're shooting content. We're very proud. We're shooting what, you know what? I'm going back to Jesus. This was the life I used to live. I'm getting baptized now. So my generation, we're not sure about God.
A ona ntho o tla etsang ka ntle ho Modimo.
Amen.
Le yena o itse ntshepe ke tla o bontsha ntho tse
Sure.
di patilweng.
Patilweng.
So ha o ka itshepela ho Modimo o tla fihla mo tshwanetse go fihla teng. Wa tshepagala.
Yes.
So thank you so much. So we've discovered what womanhood is, and that womanhood is not only one dimension, but is actually multi-layered. And while our experiences differ, we are united by resilience, love, and God's purpose. So whatever your stage in your life, remember that you are part of God's beautiful design, and your story therefore matters, all of us. This has been Teaching Through Conversation, where we do not only teach, but we learn from one another. So stay grounded, stay curious, and stay in Christ. God's blessings.
Thank you.